Welcome to another Chef Knives to Go quick look product review. I'm Steve Gamache, and what we have today is an interesting blade. This is the Sukenari HAP40 as the steel on it, Gyuto 240mm knife. So as stated, this has a core steel of what's known as HAP40. It's a semi-stainless steel known to take a very high hardness on the heat treat and yet maintain a fair amount of toughness for that heat treat. So not quite as brittle as some steels in this heat, this hardness category. In this particular case, this maker takes this all the way up to 68. So this is really hard. It's probably one of the hardest knives on the Chef Knives to Go site altogether. So this thing has crazy edge retention. This steel is known for outrageous edge retention. And again, a fair amount of toughness given that hardness. So this thing will be a beast in terms of prep. It's a beautiful knife. It's well crafted. You can tell it's just going to be a beast. So it's going to be a great knife, either in a pro kitchen or a home kitchen, either one. So the steel, again, is HAP40 semi-stainless. The cladding is full stainless on either side of that for a 3-layer construction. And weight and dimensions can vary a little bit from knife to knife. This particular one is 180 grams or 6.3 ounces. The handle is octagonal. It's rosewood. It's got a it's narrower this way than this way, so it's less squarish and a little more rectangular. But real pretty wood, rosewood. Then it's got a buffalo horn ferrule on it. This particular one is kind of almost a semi-blonde buffalo horn. It's really nice looking. Might not all be this shade. This is a great shade on this one. And they've got it nicely sealed up where the tang goes in. So just a real pretty package to it. Edge length is about 232, a little bit undersized. So these are about 9.1-ish length on the edge. Overall length on this one's about 383 millimeters or about 15 inches. Spine thickness, fairly kind of standard across the board. A little bit of a taper to it, but I got about 2.5 above the back of the blade, the heel here, and about 2.25 halfway down, millimeter-wise thickness on the spine. And then it doesn't have a lot of taper, but it has some taper to it, and then it gets to a nice thin tip. Really nicely done. So yeah, I'd say it is a pretty nice distal taper, actually. Changed my mind. So it's got a nice taper all the way down to that real thin tip. The grind is just really well executed. It's just kind of a gradual grind down towards the tip. You don't see a lot of heavy, like boom, there it starts. So it's real nice, this kind of gradual convex grind. And you can see, get that camera to focus there. You can see the edge is thin as well. So this is going to fly through stuff. Got a really nice performance grind to it. Let's see, height. Height's about 50.2 millimeters at the back on this one. The neck's a little bit wide, but there's still lots of ground clearance there for your fingers. Slight step here where the handle goes into the neck, but good spot there and a pinch grip for your fingers. Good ground clearance there, board clearance for your hand. Let's see, let's get our beauty shot. So you can see the grind, the finish marks are vertical on the blade. It's a little tricky on this one to show it. Let's do that. That's a good way you can see the grind there coming down. We've got some embossed kanji and the type of steel. Here's your cladding, which is a soft stainless cladding. So this is stainless over semi-stainless. And there's your core steel right there. So this is the right side of the blade. Here's the left side of the blade. And you can see there's some embossed kanji on the left side of the blade. And there's your cladding and your core steel. So very good fit and finish on this. They've polished off the spine a little bit, rounded that. They've done a nice job on the choil back here into the neck. This has really clean grinds when you sight down the blade and have it reflect. You can kind of see that buffalo horn reflecting in there. When you look at kind of a brighter source, especially something that's got some print or pattern to it, you can see how clean the grind is by any undulations. This has really clean grinds to it on the side. So it's a very well crafted knife. Balance point. Balance point is about right there. The handle's not that heavy, so there's your balance point about right there. It's a little bit in front of a pinch grip, but it's not too far off. So let me do that again. So there's your balance point. Pinch grip is actually just slightly behind that, so I'll take that back. It's not really, it's pretty neutral. It's quite neutral, so it's got a lot of nimble feel to it despite the blade size. Let's look at the cutting board profile. Out of the box edge, I'll give this a 7 out of 10. It was really sharp out of the box. Nicely done edge. So this is ready to pull out and start working. Here's your edge profile, and you're going to see this thing has a flat heel. So if you like to chop at the back, this has lots of that. So it flows into a nice stop here. Boom, but it's smooth. Stop. It just pops right into a stop there. And that whole back, 40% of the blade, 35% of the blade is pretty flat right there. So that'll be great for chopping. It's got a fairly aggressive belly towards the tip, so it'll still rock. Let's see here. This thing's so sharp, it's actually kind of digging into my board. So about right in there. So you can rock this thing for sure. It's got a nice flow into that heel. So this has a lot going for it. You got a chopping section. You can rock it. Tip draws. Can do that too. Might be a little high on the handle for that, but you can do that as well. So just beautifully crafted knife. It's not inexpensive, but this steel is hard to work with and it's expensive, and the craftsmanship on this is great. So this is an heirloom quality blade. And as I mentioned, this thing will be a beast on prep if you are needing something like that as well. So this is the Sukenari HAP40 Gyuto 240mm knife from Chef Knives to Go.